Welcome to another episode of Around the Big Ten. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Lucy Rohden. Now this week in the Big Ten, Penn State beat Michigan, and with 2 techs, John Beilein had just as good of a view of that game as I did from my couch. And apparently in the Big Ten, Illinois is relevant again, and that's 100% because I said they'd be bad forever in my last episode, and the Big Ten's mission statement is basically to make me look stupid. But we're not talking about any of that today. Today, instead of going around the Big Ten, we're going around Carver Hawkeye Arena. Because unless you're frozen like the ice in Jordan Bohannon's veins, you've probably seen his game-winning shot. And you know what? You're welcome, because I'm going to show it to you again. Now, there are a lot of things to notice about this shot. But if you look closely, you see that the crowd behind him, it's about as absent as Northwestern's defense the last 4 minutes of that game. Yes, it was a Sunday night and it was snowy. Yes, Iowa was down by 15 with 4 minutes left. And yes, Carver traffic sucks. But you know what sucks more than all those things? The players having to watch fans dip out of that game early when they barely showed up for it in the first place. So today's episode, it's going to have less jokes than normal. And I know you're thinking that's the worst thing you've ever heard in your entire life because you live for my jokes. Well, I completely understand. But today, I need to call out Iowa fans on all their crap. Hawkeye Nation fronts as the best fan base in the nation. Really, the best fans in the nation. When you have a top 25 basketball team on campus, but you don't show up to see them play, I guess we just have different opinions on what the best fan in the nation really means. Now, you know I'm not the type to ever praise any Big Ten school, but I had the pleasure of going to cover Iowa's game at Assembly Hall last week. First, I would like to note that Indiana caters Chick-fil-A for the media, and Iowa, I never thought I'd say this, but you need to be more like Indiana. But although the food choices Iowa caters to the media are a very important topic that we as a nation need to address, it's not what I'm here for today. But what I am here for is to tell you the difference in the fan base. An hour before the game, the student section was completely full at Indiana. And for Iowa's game against Northwestern, there were more empty seats than there were students at Carver. Now, there are a couple reasons why student support sucks at basketball games here. One, a lot of these games are on school nights. But in the words of Cardale Jones, I didn't come here to play school. Two, you can't tailgate a basketball game. Iowa students, I'm sure you'll find a way around that. And three, they're not cheap. It can cost up to $20 to go to one game. Do you know how many drinks that can buy a student at Union on a Thursday night? Why would we pay that much money on a Thursday to go see a game when you can spend it on other extracurricular activities? The Iowa Athletics Department, they got it right though against Michigan State when they gave out 1,000 free tickets to students. And do you know what happened when they did that? Students showed up. But this isn't an issue at other schools. UNC and NC State, which are both basketball schools, don't make their students pay for tickets. And yes, that's probably because no one should have to pay to see a team put up 24 points looking at UNC State or pay to see the University of No Classes lose to Duke. But still, Iowa, why can't you do the same? Are you really making that much money from the one section of students that show up? The Iowa Athletics Department needs to work with students and the students need to show up. Students, the bars are still open after the game ends. And for other fans in attendance, showing up isn't as much of a problem as staying is. If Iowa fans truly are the best friends in the world like all of you hype yourself up to be, then stay till the end of the game. If you can't stay, then put your phone away instead of tweeting about the game that you're missing while you sit in the Carver parking lot trying to beat traffic, even though you chose to dip out early of a game where Iowa probably would come back. So the moral of this story is Iowa fans, be better. Iowa fans saying that they're the best in the nation is like saying Illinois has potential to be a good team. Yes, sometimes we get little moments where we feel like that might be true, but most of the time it's just delusion. So Iowa, don't be in Illinois. Nobody wants to be in Illinois. But that's all the rant I've got left in me for today. Next week I'll get back to the hilarious jokes and find some way to make fun of Urban Meyer. If you liked what you heard today, which I'm guessing you didn't because I did my very best to piss off as many Iowa fans as possible, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter at Lucy Rohden DITV. And let me know what you want to see on my next episode of Around the Big Ten. And if you didn't like what you saw today, I'm sorry that I called you out for being a bad fan, but somebody needed to do it. If I hurt your feelings, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter anyways, and tweet at me if I made you Friend McCaffrey level mad. Because you know what, unlike Northwestern's defense, I can take the heat. Once again, I am Lucy Rohden. I'll be back to making you laugh or ticking you off next week.